Country music makes me cry. Not every country song does this. I've never cried to "She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy." But I have a soft spot for the really sappy country love songs. And in my early 30s, I have a job where I travel, sometimes for weeks at a time. And on one trip, I go to Oklahoma City, and I spend 2 weeks alone in a hotel. And I'm in a place in my life where I've just gone through a long breakup, and I'm not in any kind of relationship, so there's no one to call from my hotel at night. And one night I decided to just get out in my car and drive around and just listen to the radio. And I start with a classic rock station. But you know, I'm not in the mood to listen to Foreigner sing "Feels Like the First Time." So I switched to the country station, and it's playing Shania Twain, "Still the One." And you know, I feel like I'm not supposed to like Shania Twain, but she has a really nice voice, and there's a great melody, and there's this one part where she sings something like, "You're still the one I kiss, good night." And I think, I wish I had someone to kiss goodnight. And I get a little weepy, which is fine because I'm in the privacy of my own car. But the next night I'm listening to Kenny Chesney, and this is the same guy that does the song "She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy." And it's a song about umbrella-shaped margaritas and coconut oil and tan senoritas, and I'm not feeling any of it. But then there's a twist, and he says something like, "I've done some living and I've had fun, but there is one thing that I haven't done." And he goes, "I wanna know how forever feels." And it's really catchy, and he sings it about 10 times, and I'm singing along in the privacy of my own car, and then I notice I have a teardrop coming down my cheek. And I think, thank God no one's here to see this. And a little while after that trip to Oklahoma City, I go to my 10-year college class reunion, and I spend time talking to a woman named Julie. And she is this warm and affirming person. She's funny, and she has a great laugh. She's beautiful, and we just hit it off. And we go on one date, and we know there's a special connection there, which is a wonderful feeling. Except she's just taken a job in California, and I'm in DC. But we both feel like there's maybe something there. So we travel back and forth to see each other for long weekends, and it's really fun for a few months. But then every time I come back from visiting her, I just feel tired and jet-lagged, and I miss her desperately. And you know, some country love songs start with a lot of hope and end with a lot of heartache. But the ones that I love are the ones about two people who just fall in love and decide they just want to be together no matter what. And one morning I'm driving to work, and I'm just keeping my eyes open and trying to hold my eyes open. The country station is playing a song by a singer named Jody Messina, and it's about two people who are just gonna flip a coin, and they're ready to leave their one-horse town, and all that matters is that they go somewhere together. And the chorus is something like, "Heads Carolina, tails California." And I just love that song so much, and it makes me cry. And, you know, I just think to myself, I just want to be with Julie, no matter what. So the next time she comes to visit, we go out on a long walk, and everything just feels right. And I say, "Would it be too soon for me to propose? Is that something you'd be ready for?" And she says, "Yeah, it's something I'd be ready for." So the next time I go to visit her in California, I bring a ring, and I ask her to marry me, and she says yes. Yeah. So I start looking for a job in California. But after a couple of months, I have a couple leads, but nothing solid. And after about 3 months, I start to get a little panicky, and I'm really worried. And then one day, Julie calls me, and she says, hey, I just talked to an old boss of mine, and he offered me a job in D.C. And, I know that she just made that job happen. And the plan was for us to be together in California. But I want to be with her so badly, and we make a decision that night. And a few weeks later, I fly out to California, and we drive back across the country in a rental van. And when I get back to my office in D.C., there's a message on my voicemail with a job offer in California. But that coin has already been flipped, and we don't look back. And the thing is, it turns out to be this incredible decision, because almost 20 years later, we're still together here. And we have incredible friends, we have an awesome daughter, and we love our life together. So it's a really tough decision when Julie comes to me just a few months ago and says she has a great, incredible job offer, and it's back in California. And right around this time, I've become obsessed with another country music song. Or it's kind of a country music song. It's by Lady Gaga. And it's from the soundtrack to A Star is Born. It's called Always Remember Us This Way. And I don't tell anybody about this, but I listen to that song all the time on the metro or any time I'm alone in my car. And it has this line about California gold and something about all I want to know is you're where I want to go. And I just sort of feel like maybe it's time for us to make a change. And we don't make this choice lightly, but we talk it through, and we finally decide we're doing it. We're going to California together. And, right about that time, after we make that decision, one night, I'm pouring a bath for our daughter, and I'm listening to the Lady Gaga song on my headphones, and I'm thinking about all the goodbyes we have ahead. And there's this part where Lady Gaga says something like, when I'm all choked up and I can't find the words, every time we say goodbye, baby, it hurts. And I can just feel the tears coming down my cheeks. But it's okay, because I'm in the privacy of my own home, and thank God no one can see me. But then I look up in the doorway, and I see Julie standing there looking at me, crying on the edge of the bathtub. And I take my headphones off, and she says, are you listening to Lady Gaga? And I say, yeah, how did you know? And she says, baby, you've been listening to that song all week. You had it blaring in the car stereo when you drove into the driveway last night. And she kind of smiles, and she sits down next to me, and she puts her arms around me. And I feel like I'm at home, and I think I'll always remember us this way.
want to ruin the ending. This is Seth's last show with Story District, so keep it going for him one more time. Also, we want to shout out the one and only DJ Sugar Pants. He's the one who's giving us all the music, the walk-in, walk-out music. Thank you. Y'all ready for the next storyteller? All right. She is a graduate of the Storytelling 101 class, and this is her first time on the stage for Story District. So please show her some extra love, Lynn Mayo.
So this is my big break. I got an email inviting me to give a briefing to the most senior people in the company. And at first I think, this has got to be a mistake. So I talked to my boss, Scott. No, I love Scott. Scott was the type of guy in his free time would read books on how to succeed in business, and then pass on what he learned to me. So I go, Scott, was I really invited to this meeting? And Scott goes, Lynn, you're doing a great job. But we have new management, and they don't know who you are. So you need to go to California, give this presentation, so the senior people get to know you. Now, as you know, for any meeting, you need a mission. So your mission is to make sure after the meeting, the senior people remember you. Now, he had me with go to California. But when I had a mission, I was fully in. I'm thinking, I accept this mission. I'm going to go to California. I'm going to give this great presentation. These people are going to remember me. So I fly out to California. It's my first time at the corporate headquarters. The receptionist brings me up to the conference room. It's this beautiful room with this big mahogany conference table. There are additional chairs lined up against the wall. The room is full, and I only recognize one person, and that's Dave. Now, Dave is my boss's boss. And Dave sees me and says, hey, Lynn, welcome to Los Angeles. Let me introduce you to some people. So he says, Lynn, this is John. Now, John, he's still upset about the game last night. And I go, yeah, that game, that was the worst. Now, I have no idea what game they're talking about. I don't even know what sport they're talking about. But I know to meet my mission, I need to play along. So Dave then goes and introduces me to Mike, and to Joe, and to Bob, and to another John. And basically, it's a room full of men. Now, I work for an engineering company, so it wasn't that unusual. As often happens, there are more men in the room named John than there were women. So I know, partly by just showing up, people are going to remember me, I'm going to meet my mission. And so after the introductions, people go to sit, and I go to sit at one of the chairs against the wall, and Dave pipes in and says, Lynn, you're presenting.